Showtime.
I think you should have said, another load of joy is on the way.
Another load of joy.
Welcome back, all you boils and ghouls and corpses crew, to another exciting episode of Habeas Corpses. And you probably have noticed we have a new intro song brought to you by our friend Alex Heinerman, who's sitting right next to me to my left.
And if you're watching the video, you can definitely see him.
It's all I can see on the monitor. Joke, it's only funny to two other people and they're in this room.
Oh, we just got done. Me and Alex spent the night, or more as I would say, Alex spent the night writing and producing the new intro song and screaming and yelling at a Mac computer because he hates Apple.
I just hate your mouse. Your mouse is the worst. The trackpad on the mouse is
Too sensitive.
dumb.
But then after that, we had started talking about Maximum Overdrive for some odd reason. And Lacey bought me that for Christmas because I love that terrible movie. And you're the only one that has not seen it. So what did you think?
I really enjoyed it.
Did you really enjoy it?
I
or
did.
You had a good time?
I had a good time.
So there are many times we have this discussion that there's a difference between movies that you like and movies that are quote unquote good. And this is a movie that I enjoy, and it is not a good movie.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like everything I like isn't necessarily high quality, and everything that's high quality I don't necessarily like. This is part of that. This movie is fucking horrible, and it's
so
very
shitty.
enjoyable to watch.
It's super duper bad. That's
Oh,
what makes
yes.
it so good.
Very true. It is. It's very enjoyable. The plot there. The plot is
Who doesn't love
basically-
Emilio Estevez with one earring, you know?
Whoa, I thought that was Ryan Gosling the whole time. I thought this was the prequel to Drive. It's not, huh? Okay.
It is not.
Shit, that changed my. This movie's stupid now.
The whole premise of the film is it opens up telling you that Earth is going through a phase of a comet going to be passing us, and it's going to take 8 days, 23 hours, 14 minutes, and 22 seconds.
They have it down to the exact moment. It's
Moment.
kind of like you guys just did that episode on Don't Look Up where they're able to calculate, just when the meteor is going to impact. Maybe they just had that technology and it's just assume that you know what it is versus Don't Look Up where they use all these big words that you've never heard of in your life.
And you're like, okay. And that's all we get. That's the premise of the movie. And then we follow a bunch of chaos for about the first 15 minutes, just random different situations.
Just ensuing chaos.
It seemed almost like a sketch comedy kind of show where, not that it was sketch comedy, but it was just a bunch of scenarios that happen, and eventually everything kind of ties up. But I completely forgot how disjointed everything seemed to be in the beginning of the movie. Like you have a gas station, you have a baseball field, you have you're an asshole on the ATM with
Honey,
Stephen
this
King.
computer just called me an asshole.
Yeah, and then you have
And
the bridge going up with the motorcycle guy.
Yeah, the motorcycle. I love that the motorcycle guy's falling and then somehow falls into the water, even though he'd be falling down onto the bridge onto the other cars. Somehow falls upwards over the drawbridge.
This movie defies logic.
It defies logic.
Almost
it
like
defies
it's-
gravity.
It's almost like it's
Both.
written by someone on drugs.
And directed by someone on drugs.
This is Stephen King's one and only directorial debut, and then he
Curtain call.
Yeah, he never went back to directing movies. He left that up to other directors and screenwriters to ruin all his adaptations
On
of
their
books.
own.
Yeah,
And I mentioned this before. I love that the two movies that I relate Stephen King to are obviously Maximum Overdrive and his version of The Shining, which is also, but that's unenjoyable garbage. It sucks and it's not enjoyable to watch. Where this is so terrible.
That it's fun.
It's very enjoyable.
It's the dumpster fire behind McDonald's, so it smells okay. It's not the dumpster fire at the dump.
I was gonna say one of the things that I like is, so I was on here and we talked about Psycho Gorman, and these are both B movies, but one was made with a lot of heart and a lot of ambition, and you could tell that it was made by people who loved making movies and enjoyed movies. Where this movie was very heavily edited. You mentioned that the director's cut is in no man's land.
Yeah, no one knows where it's at, but there is a whole list on Wikipedia, or not Wikipedia, IMDb, that you can go look at everything they've cut out to keep their rating from rated X.
And so not only was it made by someone who was coked out and did it because like, fuck you, I can make a good movie, and that, but also chopped and cut and edited and went through that whole. So it's an enjoyable B movie, but on a different level, where this wasn't made out of love and ambition and. I just want to make a movie because I love all these movies, love all these things. It was made like a fuck you, I'm better than you. Drugs and red tape.
No joke. And I don't know what the what like a B movie budget is for the 80s, but this was shot on a $9 million budget, which back then, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, even now it is, but you think about 1986. And you do get this feel that they spent all their money on certain aspects of the movie, and then they just were like, we don't have any money left. How are we going to end this film?
It was made with high-quality Reagan bucks.
Trickle down economics. The thing that...
I think this masterpiece is one of the best pieces of cinema I've ever seen, so I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, is it one of your new favorites?
It's probably up there, yeah.
So you're the opposite of Yeardley Smith and...
What?
She's apparently so embarrassed by this movie she does not like talking about it. This is Lisa Simpson.
Oh,
her character.
that's her name?
Is Yeardley Smith. Yeah. Or Haley Joel Osment, time traveling sex change.
I thought that was a man. When you said that name earlier, I thought it was a man.
No. She barely hates, and I mean, I totally get it. Like, this would be a movie that I wouldn't brag about, but also.
I would
also brag about at the same time, you know. Like,
yeah,
I was in Maximum Overdrive, but
well, I think
Maximum Overdrive.
I definitely think it depends on who you are as an actor and where you went with your career. Obviously, she's gone on to being the voice of Lisa Simpson, so she's gonna think this is garbage. But the actors that didn't go anywhere are like, dude, but Maximum Overdrive, man, I was in that film.
Hey, Amelia, you want to talk about the Mighty Ducks? Can we talk about Maximum Overdrive instead?
I totally forgot he's in the Mighty Ducks.
And I mean, this movie. Like,
I wish The Simpsons would make Maximum Overdrive references.
They did in 1999.
They did?
There was a reference to Maximum Overdrive.
But only one?
Yeah. I mean,
they should do it all the time to her since she's embarrassed about it.
Which one of you two was it that mentioned King of the Hill first?
Me.
Oh, yeah. It was. So as the movie progresses, it kind of all ties up. They end up at Dixie Boy gas station. All the characters, the newlyweds, the young kid who survives the onslaught at the baseball field.
The original steamroller death.
Yeah.
That's been done over and over in films again and again, from Austin Powers to tons of zombie films.
There were so many times I thought of the Austin Powers reference, but not the steamroller reference, but the amount of people who just stood up with their hands over their face just to get hit by a truck instead of getting out of the fucking way. Perfect.
My face!
Yeah, but like you're saying, they end up at the fuel station.
The fuel station, and that's when Lacey made the Buck Strickland reference. And
yes, and it just tied in perfectly.
Yeah, so they end up at the gas station and hanging out at the gas station. Then becomes a survive at the gas station while Stephen King pokes fun at religion by having the Bible salesman get killed. Movie.
It's pretty much the 1960s Night of the Living Dead, but instead of zombies, you have trucks.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
And I had mentioned I love the how did this get made on this, and one of the things rewatching this after I've listened to that episode is they're very picky and choosy about what's a machine and what's not.
Yes.
Like something, and you had mentioned, it seems like it's only semis that get taken over, even though cars also have computers in them.
Yeah, because the newlywed couple is driving around in a car, and their car's getting them to this gas station just fine, but every other vehicle out there,
Yeah,
semi...
And you had mentioned that military vehicle wagon, red flyer wagon with a gun on top.
That's what it was.
Very picky and choosy with what machines come to life. So that was really fun. She's able to work on a stove, which is a machine, but the automatic ham cutter, turkey cutter comes to life.
I know, and like some of the radios will kill you, but some of them will not.
I love Marcus had mentioned before the guy on the radio saying, turn off electronics as he's on the radio.
And then the little police car that kills the dog, like.
Oh yeah,
And the sprinklers just turning on as the kid's driving by. It's like, very picky and choosy with what they consider machines.
Those aren't even electronics.
Yeah, and I get like machines can be very simple. Machines don't have to have electronics. I mean, I totally get that.
But a sprinkler.
Well, a sprinkler's a simple machine, right? Like a pulley is considered a machine. It's considered a simple machine. But what are they like? Does it have electronics in it? Well, no, the sprinklers are coming to life. Does it have to have all electronics? Well, no, a guy can hop on the radio, and some cars work, some don't.
Yeah, it totally does.
The only way to understand the logic in this movie is to be coked out of your mind.
Yeah, I do.
And if you're not, then you're just going to be confused a little bit.
You had mentioned Stephen King had a quote about this movie. Basically, someone asked him about, why don't you direct movies anymore?
Have you seen Maximum Overdrive?
With the best soundtrack of all time.
Yeah, because from start to finish, it's pretty much also an AC/DC music video.
Who made you?
That's something I had not picked up on because it's been a long time since I watched this.
Uh-huh.
The intro song being, "Who made you? We made you," which of course the classic line from the fry cook at the gas station.
Yeah,
"We made you. How dare you? Have you no?" This movie's so bad and just so amazing. And you would think that you'd mention this wanted to have some amazing climax. There's all these cars and explosions, and they have rocket launchers in the basement for some reason, and then it just kind of ends.
Strickland.
It's like
Debbie Grund.
It's like the opposite of Night of the Living Dead in that sense, where the police come to save the day, they just kind of escape and it ends.
Yeah,
because trucks come to life, boats don't.
Because it's on the water.
Water negates everything.
Yeah, I love when they finally figure out that our gas station, I don't know if he's the owner or just the bigwig boss. He's like micromanaging everyone's hours, and he's taking advantage of
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, because he's
Billy.
Yeah, he's a parolee, so he's like, you either North Carolina owns your ass or I do. And then you figure out he's got this stash of guns below, just fully automatic weapons, rocket launchers, all these things. And
I love how the stuff just happens in this movie to happen. It's like, why does the guy hate Emilio Estevez's character?
Just cause. Yeah.
Why does the hitchhiker fall in love with Emilio Estevez? Just cause.
Why does she have a razor in her, like, instead of like a knife or something? She's like, I've got this fancy razor blade.
Yeah, because she's hitchhiking into Florida. Just cause. Why do they take in the newly married couple? Why does the one guy just decide he's going to be a hero? Just cause. It's like this all happens over the course of, 2 days?
2 days, yeah.
And it seems like something that would take course over an extended period of time. There'd be some sort of character. No, there's not.
There's no character development.
Why do they care so much about the woman freaking out about who made you? That just cause. And the one guy, the trucker, like, oh no, don't go with this. It's like he's so in love with this woman. You've known her for half a day. What is going? No.
Don't make me a widow on my wedding day.
It also has characters appearing out of thin air, which
the random cowboy.
Where did you come from?
Where did he come from? I still don't know.
And why did he become such a
pivotal
part of
character halfway through? I mean, maybe.
speaking of weird character decisions, I love the trucker who decides to put his face into the gas pump to see why gas isn't coming out. And then, as you pointed out, this black oil comes out that's supposed to be diesel fuel. And then he's like bleeding out his eyes before he gets hit by the... Either that or he's been crying so much that his fake tan is coming off. Like, I don't... This movie's
weird.
great. Just watch it. It's amazing.
Oh, yes. It definitely... It's fast-paced, a lot of fun. You can tell that they run out of money towards the end of the movie. After they've blown up the gas station, well, basically, they become forced slaves to the diesels.
Well, because these super smart diesels just decide to drive in circles around the gas station to run out of fuel, and then ask their captives to fuel them so they can continue to drive in circles around the gas station.
Yes. Yeah, Lacey's like, why don't they just drive through the building? Well, then what are they going to do? Just drive around?
Who are they going to circle at that point?
It was all...
And that's great. They're just like, well, we're going to leave. Well, we're going to smash this gas station and then just leave. It seems like... This movie makes absolutely no sense at all, and that's what makes it so great. It's just a series of decisions that don't add up.
This is a book, right?
No.
Oh, he just did a movie this time around. I was like...
And if you've ever seen the advertisements, Stephen King bragging about, I'm going to scare the pants off of you with this.
Yeah.
He was very excited to make this horror film. That's the thing to keep in mind as you watch this. This is supposed to be a horror film.
It's supposed to scare you into...
A supernatural horror film to keep you away from semis or gas stations or Simpsons voice actors. I'm not sure which it's supposed to keep you away from.
Let's think about one thing real quick. 1986. None of us were alive. But what was going on in 86? Wasn't the gas shortage going on?
I couldn't tell you.
Around then?
History started in 1987.
When Alex came onto the...
Yeah. September of 87. Everything from that just was a mistake. Oh. Starting with this movie, Exhibit A.
Oh, yeah. And they literally communicate to the gas station refugees, I guess you call them, whatever. Survivors.
Yeah. And they're still survivors.
Yes, they make that the point at the end of the film through Morse code with the most ridiculous military vehicle I've ever seen.
Yeah. Again, it looks like a red flyer with a machine gun on top.
I totally thought, I'm sitting here and I've seen this movie multiple times, and every time I see this vehicle, it's mind-boggling. I'm like, who came up with this vehicle idea in production on the movie? Well, I looked it up, and it's actually a vehicle that the U.S.
Well, who came up with that
during the Vietnam War?
That vehicle in general, then, because that's the shittiest design. It's a wagon with no
wheels,
seat,
no seats, and
it does have a steering wheel with a horn, though. Because you will need the horn because you don't have a seat. You have to stand up to drive this thing.
And even
where are the pedals?
Even better, coked out Stephen King's like, this is the perfect weapon for my movie. My movie needs this.
Well, maybe
instead of like getting it, like you can afford all of these like fucking big old semi trucks. He's like, I can't get a tank. I'll get this thing.
He just kept saying one more truck, add one more truck, and then they're like, well, how are we gonna get the assault vehicle from the military? Well, let's go look at it. Oh, that's how much to rent? How much for this little wagon in here?
Couldn't afford a tank, so you got the next best thing.
And what they could have done is
it's like when you
taken the bulldozer.
When you make something and you think it's gonna be cheaper.
And it's not.
And that's like the tank, like DIY version.
Well, they should have just said, don't get the bulldozer, don't get the cart, just get a tank.
Yeah.
That would have been the perfect vehicle. But they're like, you know what we need? We need a vehicle that can ram into the building and not get destroyed, and a vehicle with a gun. So find two separate things.
And you had mentioned, like, my favorite thing is the machine gun. I don't know enough about guns to know what kind of gun it was.
On the big scary one.
On the wagon military vehicle was a machine, but all the guns in the basement, including the ones that they take on the excursion to save the Bible salesman, those ones aren't machines. They don't fire on their own.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. They have all these weapons that aren't fire that they're using against the onslaught of vehicles, and the vehicles are using their own guns.
Yeah.
Maybe the vehicles are powering them and they're not machine enough.
I don't know.
I don't know either. They're like, well, I'm going to give life to this gun now.
Well, the best thing is when all is said and done, we have this one vehicle that's this pivotal vehicle. It's the antagonist of
Happy Toys.
Yep,
vehicle.
the Happy Toys vehicle. Here comes another
with
load.
The green, very obvious Green Goblin from the Spider-Man comics and cartoon. I like to think that it is the
Green Goblin controlling it.
Yeah, the actual. It's Willem Dafoe driving the actual car.
Oh man,
He's the best villain in the Spideyverse.
well, it's this truck that's very. I mean, you don't miss it. He's driving around, and the sad thing is he kills one person at the end showdown, the climax between the group and the truck. He knocks one guy over as he steals a ring that Alex mentioned. Now they're not gonna blow up as well.
Yeah.
And then they just blow up the truck and it ends. It's not
that's the
like
end of the
there's
movie.
no tense build up to this. It's just like Emilio's like, take this, sucker, fires a rocket at the truck and boom. And then
there's no final stand. There's no decision or ticking clock element.
Yeah.
It's just, I've got this RPG. For, again, the guy who owns the gas station, not only does he have a bedroom with tits all over the wall, he has a basement filled with not just guns, but rocket launchers. Multiple rockets.
yeah, not one. They fire so many rockets.
Yeah, at least 5. At least 5 rockets in this gas station diner.
I think Stephen King thinks that's what diners are like.
Yeah.
What they have every diner has a rocket launcher.
They have a bedroom for fucking.
They have a jerk-off room. Yeah. And then a jerk-off room for gun nuts in the basement.
Yeah. They're like, here you go. You just met a hitchhiker. This dirty-ass mattress is here for you.
Well, and then...
this is in South Carolina, right?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, because
okay.
they talk about...
I was going to say, they must have shot this in Perfection, Nevada with the Tremors basement.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's Perfection, North Carolina, Nevada.
Same diff.
Yeah.
And then towards once the big letdown of the climax happens, the movie also informs us that actually it wasn't the comet that did this. The Russian satellite station, weather station up there, blows a UFO away.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, it's like
It's aliens.
It's not the comet. Did you catch that at the end?
Yeah.
It's like
I was like, what is happening in this movie? I'm not complaining, but I just don't.
It's just like the whole opening scene. We know that doesn't make any sense.
You know that scene of Charlie from It's Always Sunny, and I know it's from Horrible Bosses, I think, and he's got all the papers and the red string, and he's like that.
Yeah.
That was Stephen King writing this movie.
This?
He was like, okay, and then at the end, it's actually gonna be aliens.
It's the classic Pepe Sylvia.
Oh man.
See, what's great is I feel like we haven't talked about this movie, like the plot at all, but yet we have.
Because we've
covered
plot.
everything.
Yes.
That we completely circled around what this movie, what happens and what this movie is, and at the same time we've hit everything. It's just such a, you have to see it to get
actually
this clusterfuck
yeah.
of a movie.
Because
it's like a Van Gogh painting. You need to see it
You
in
gotta
real life.
cut your ears off to enjoy it. I agree.
Oh man. I don't have anything else to say about this movie.
I don't either. I'm like,
Alex
well,
is right.
I think we covered it all.
Usually we go about an hour for an episode and we're at 25 minutes. I'm like, that's maximum overdrive.
Well, because we should have recorded while we were watching the movie because you laughed so hard.
Alex
whole
was
time.
cracking me up, man. Alex needs to.
There's nobody who makes Marcus laugh as hard as Alex.
No, someone. We need to crowdsource and crowdfund for Alex, and get him his own YouTube channel that he does his own commentary on movies because it's hilarious. I swear to God, when that cowboy character came out of nowhere and his utter surprise and shock, who is this guy? It just.
Yep. I just wanted you to keep going on.
But this is also proof that if you have enough money, anyone can make a movie. I mean, you don't need a plot line. You don't need anything.
Hopefully, Rob Zombie doesn't remake this movie.
I want to remake this movie.
He would, Sherry Moon Zombie would be cast as the truck. It would just be your big face on the front of it.
That's good. That's a good one.
And the trucks would only kill people when they're fucking.
Yeah.
At first, I was thinking she'd be the diner lady, but
No, she would have to be
she
a
would
villain.
definitely be the truck.
Yeah. And instead
Or
of
just her face on the truck.
yeah, and it would be a constant loop of Dragula over and over again through the whole movie.
Oh God, oh God! I hope he doesn't come up with this idea.
Well, what's he doing right now? Oh, he's doing the
Munsters.
Munsters. That's right. I'm not even a fan of the Munsters, so I don't have any but I don't have any care of what happens with it.
I don't have any stake in it.
Yeah, I want to say that. But I don't have any. It doesn't bother me that he's doing it, but I've seen a lot of people are highly bothered by him doing the Munsters.
Yep.
But it's like a lot of people got bothered by him doing Halloween as well, and I didn't give a shit. I'm like,
I get
whatever.
I get bothered by him doing anything because he should not do anything.
Hey, he's got one good movie. I think we discussed this before.
Yeah.
The Devil's Rejects is a good
Then
movie.
he should have stopped there.
I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just saying.
I think he should stop with his Maximum Overdrive remake, which you have now confirmed.
And if you haven't confirmed,
I need-
it's out there in the universe.
I need
and
someone
he's
to Photoshop her face onto the Happy Toys truck now. You know
on
how?
it.
Yeah, that would be great.
on it, tag him in it on Instagram and Facebook and all the social media platforms, and then you'll get him like, I'm doing it. He'll announce it in like 2 months with full backing of Stephen King.
And Stephen King will just play the same guy. Who,
He does
this
say
thing just
so
called me an
weirdly-
asshole.
So you're Lee Smith.
Oh my god.
With Charlie Sheen instead of Emilio Estevez.
Oh God, is Emilio Estevez been in anything lately? He doesn't act anymore, does he?
I don't know.
His brother was in Roller Gator. That's all I got.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think he does any.
If he's
acting
in
or
anything, I haven't seen it, so
I know they just remade The Mighty Ducks for Disney Plus. I don't know if he was in that or not.
If he did, he probably did like a cameo or something.
did you know that the mafia once bought a hockey team? Like this mob boss?
I could go on and on about this. Yes, I know all about the Trashers.
Yeah, the
Sure
Trashers.
do.
They called them the Trashers.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause
they
funneled
had-
money through being a garbage.
Yeah.
The mafia still owns the trash
Well,
industry.
this specific family.
Yeah, the guy bought a hockey team for his kid. The guy was an owner when he was in high school.
Yeah. And they were called the Trashers, and they would like.
Fight
Okay, this
people.
is a good segue.
They would fight.
Talks about Maximum Overdrive. Now we're in the crime portion. Tell me about this.
Basically,
Mafia
there would
trash.
just be like crazy fights on the rink,
Yeah,
The
that's
ring?
all it was.
and they were getting paid like ungodly amounts of money under.
So they
Yeah,
weren't
they're
even
all
really
getting paid
playing
on the
hockey.
table.
They just
they
got
start fights.
just
It didn't last very
shit
long.
out of each
and
other.
the community fucking loved it.
Oh yeah, huge thing. Still talk. I mean, they're also big because there's a sports radio show on YouTube and I guess Sirius called the Pat McAfee Show, and they talk about these guys all the time. They've had him on, and one of the guys who was a star player, Rupper, is on that podcast / radio show. So they've kind of been brought back to life. And there was that Netflix. I think it was Netflix did a documentary on it, and that's kind of where it became known. So they're kind of the team's not making a comeback, but the story
itself
players
is.
are making a big comeback from the Netflix show and the PMS, and that's Hockey Talk.
That would be interesting to go watch the documentaries on Netflix or
Yeah, and the worst part is they don't ever bring Emilio Estevez on to talk about Maximum Overdrive. That is probably my only complaint about that Netflix documentary. They never bring him on to talk about the Flying V. Fly Ducks Fly, never mentioned.
Oh my god. Oh man.
Bullshit.
However, the mob guy does get on the rink, and when people are really upset, he says, "We made you."
And he had a signed thing from the guy who played Tony Soprano because that show was based off of these people.
So when
I like that you bring it back to I'm like, let's bring this back to Maximum Overdrive. Like, no. We are done with the Maximum Overdrive portion. We are now talking about the trashers out of the New Jersey area.
how long ago was this? 80s?
No.
No.
That was actually relatively recent.
Oh wow.
I want to say sometime in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Do you have any plans for your New Year's resolutions? What is your New Year's?
Stop asking me that. I hate New Year's. And I
I
think
know,
New
that's
Year's
why I
resolutions
asked you.
are fucking stupid.
What are your resolutions, Bill Belichick?
Fuck off.
What about you, Alex? Anything?
I've got a lot.
What?
So read 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes every day is a big one. Because I found that when I read, it's only for work, and I hate it. And I don't read fiction. So when I read at home, it's just like reading for work.
Oh.
So I'm reading a book on psycholinguistics right now, and it's tough to get through, but I'm powering through it. I had mentioned that the word spam, as in spam in your email, comes from Monty Python, and I learned that from the book that I'm reading.
Wow.
So thought that was interesting.
So is your read 15 to 20 minutes a day? Do you have a rule of fiction versus nonfiction, or is it just?
I generally don't read fiction, to be honest.
Really?
There are a few. I mean, I used to read Chuck Palahniuk all the time, and
You should read B.C.
I got
Andrews.
bored.
Flowers in the Attic.
Flowers for Algernon. Is that the sequel to Flowers for Algernon?
Very closely related.
Oh, okay. And then I've got read. I've got learn one new jiu-jitsu move every day. That's another one on my list. And then I want to. It used to be daily with music, but when I realized there's so many other things that I'm doing, it's at least spend 2 hours a week working on music. But that's an easy goal.
Yeah, you've been
Not too ambitious.
You've been pumping out a lot of music with he has a project called The 10th Enemy Has the Bomb, which is a reference to Counter-Strike, correct?
No, the original Legend of Zelda. So there are people who do a lot more free time than I do. Play the original Legend of Zelda without using the sword. Yeah, I think you have to beat the last guy with a sword. Again, I don't know. But they'll get to that point, and you have to kill at least 10 enemies to get bombs in that game.
Oh, okay.
So in order to get bombs to progress, you have to kill the 10th enemy.
Gotcha.
I would not have ever known that.
I was just thinking Counter-Strike because there was a bomb in Counter-Strike. There used to be a popular online mission. It was like the enemy has the bomb, and then you would have to go get them before they blew you up. So, but it's Zelda, so I learned something now too.
And what's crazy is I'm not the biggest Zelda fan. I like the 2D Zeldas. I don't like the 3D ones. So people are like, "Hey, big Zelda fan." I'm like, no, I like 3 of the games.
So you're not like
I like the Game Boy games.
Yeah, there you go.
I like Link's Awakening. I like Oracle of Ages and Seasons, and like the Link to the Past. That's it.
There you go. How
That's
many
a cute name.
How many albums have you put out now on Spotify?
7 or 8.
Yeah,
And then I'll have a 9th one or whatever.
And
Well, as soon as I develop 10, as soon as I make 10, they'll explode because then I'll have bombs.
it was quite funny. We were not too long ago. We were doing something on my computer, and we were looking up some of your music. And there's actually a YouTube channel that he doesn't have access to, but has his songs on there.
Yeah, so if you like stuff on DistroKid, if you like stuff on YouTube, it's because DistroKid puts it out there, and I have no access to it. So all the money that it makes from advertisements, DistroKid can eat that up. It doesn't bother me. If you listen to it and enjoy it, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Bothers me.
Oh, good. 33% of people polled are very upset.
That's like Lacey. She's always the one that because I've had my photography stolen quite a few times, and I'm usually like, whatever. And Lacey gets very vocal about it.
I like scream it from the rooftop. I'm like, what the fuck?
What was the last one? Was it not Castle of Chaos?
Fear Factory?
They didn't necessarily steal it.
The fuck if they didn't? They stole it.
Well, they did steal one of my things for their Instagram, but the other thing they had asked just in a roundabout way if they could use it as a light thing, and then it became like a major advertisement on a billboard and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, okay, yeah. You used the shit out of this.
So this always makes me think you guys had done that. I don't know if it was like a horror. It wasn't a con, was it? It wasn't, or was it some showcase? They're selling horror products, and you told me about the Jason photo of our friend Craig that you did, and someone was like, "You can't just take screenshots from the movie."
Yeah,
sell them. That's got to be the greatest compliment.
I wasn't there. This was actually, they told Lacey I was out doing something else.
And I was like, that's
Taking
not.
And they were arguing with you that it was a screenshot from the film and how we can't do that because that's copyright infringement.
That's got to be the greatest feeling. It's like,
I think the one of my highest prides right now just happened not too long ago is we had a photo we did quite a while ago over the summer.
Yeah, it was over the summer.
Yeah.
Or in the spring.
And then randomly we got contacted by Salt Lake County and they were like, can we use your photo as banners on?
Was this for Magnum 8?
Yeah. So we were like, hell yeah. And we just went down there the other day and they're up.
There's a ton of them. I'm like, I'm the Magna girl.
The main lady.
I'm Miss Magna.
Well, and then another one that was cool was the Halloween Movies website used my one of my mock posters I made. And then that was another guy that stole that shit. And I called him on it. He was in a group, Halloween group. He's like, check out this poster I made.
I remember this.
And he's like...
Because it was the same night. I'm pretty sure it was the same night that we went to the bar and my ID was blacklisted. I'm pretty sure we were still mad about it.
No, it wasn't that same night.
Never mind.
We were at a bar that night. We went to the Copper Miner Saloon. And I was just livid because...
I still have my raffle ticket in my wallet from that night. But I wonder if I won.
The worst part about it is I call him on it. He says bullshit. And I can tell this guy's not a photographer and doesn't know anything about digital footprints with digital work. If you go into your metadata, you can see where the original file comes from. It's not hard to do. And a lot of people have actually... Like, they've caught the White House in lies and things from going into the metadata from White House pictures and stuff and being like, no, that president wasn't there. The metadata shows this picture is 2 years old. Like, get fucked. So when I told him, well, show me your metadata on this, he's like, huh? I'm like, yeah, because I have it sitting right on my desktop showing the exact fucking time I took the fucking photo, where at, its GPS location. And then he's like, he backed off. He's like, okay, it's yours. And like, he went and edited his post and put Marcus Swainston as the author or whatever. But then he started telling people that like I threatened his life.
And then he got your number because it had been listed on our Dark Corner Productions Facebook page at one point because I'm a dumbass. And so he was like texting you.
Yeah, he was like, you fucking... It was like, get out of here, man.
I think our address was on there. I was like, I'm gonna take this off now.
123 Fake Street.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't know why I thought that was a good idea.
Back full circle on The Simpsons.
Yeah, no kidding.
So now we have to ask, what are your New Year's resolutions there, Marcus? I almost said now years. What are your New Year's resolutions?
So one of my New Year's resolutions for this new year is I want to get back into doing a lot more video. There was a time when I first got into photography that I was doing these little adventure of photographer videos. I have a couple of them on my YouTube. And I don't get many views from them or anything. That's not why I do them. But it's just fun to play around with video. Right. And I want to dabble in that realm again more.
Yeah, you just posted that one with the was it your record player?
Oh yeah, I used one of your songs where I didn't know my camera did slow motion. I was like, oh, cool.
Even small stuff like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so
I'm glad you're getting back into it.
Yeah, I'm doing small little videos here and there. The one that it was odd because it was last Monday, and I just, for some reason, I was like, I'm going to go out to this truck that's located out in the Great Salt Lake, basically. Like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get out there, and I'm going to go take pictures of this truck. There's no storms coming, blah, 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 And I have my GoPro with me. I have my cameras and everything, and I'm out there, and I made the video of going out there. And if you watch that video, you see that I'm not too concerned, but you watch the background, and I should be concerned because it's basically like this big wall of fucking snow, ice, and wind coming towards me. And then I'm sitting there and I'm taking pictures and I have a time lapse going because I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And my phone goes, beep, beep, beep. I look at it, I'm like, winter squall warning. And I look up, I'm like, I fucking think it's time to go. And I get all my gear and I'm hauling ass and I just got so lost. And you wouldn't think, how do you get lost on the Great Salt Lake? Well, I did, because I start running to where I think my car is, and it's a fucking river. Like, I can't get across there. Finally, by the time I got back to my car, I was engulfed in this storm. But that video has actually gotten quite a bit of views, because I shared it to the Magna community. It was terrifying. Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned it and talked about it. And that was also one that I'm not a big landscape nature photographer, but those pictures were pretty popular. So I just want to get into making video content more. So that's pretty much my goal. And to not be as emotionally vested in work. Like, I want to take more of my emotion and invest it in my hobbies than care about work as much. Like, I still have a strong work drive, but sometimes I think it bleeds me dry. So that's my New Year's resolutions. And Lacey doesn't have any because she hates New Year's.
I have resolutions, but they're not New Year's resolutions.
I think right now her biggest resolution is to get Rob Zombie to make a Maximum Overdrive remake. Number one with a bullet.
Oh, yeah, I think you should. I think you should definitely start tagging in, just poking at him till he does.
Start emailing him, just like rob.zombie@gmail.com.
Yeah. Well, and then I have another resolution, but I've been doing it for I'm 5 months sober today from alcohol.
Woohoo!
So, and I'm going to keep that going. So, and I've noticed now that I'm not drinking anymore, like, my clarity is just there. And it was actually part of the reason I got sober was one of the things you had me go to. So that video that you
okay. It's like the many times I've had you go to Alcoholics Anonymous.
No. There was multiple things, and I had been trying to get sober for quite a while, but you'd asked us to do a video for you in a memorial sense, and that was one of the pushing factors. I was like, I need to stop this or I'm going to kill myself, because I was pretty bad. I know I'm going on a low note, but this low note's meant to be inspirational to people, because if you're out there and you are struggling, you can do it. Just keep with it and try. Because I tried, and I'm still trying. Like New Year's Eve, that was a pain in the ass. Last night she's drinking vodka. And
against my will.
So this is the thing I got to tell everybody. Like, Lacey has been super supportive of me getting sober and everything. And up to like a month ago, she had been sober with me, like wasn't drinking at all. I was like, I'm to the point where I trust that you can drink now, and I'm not going to like fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
And,
I feel incredibly guilty every time I drink.
No, because I just drink vicariously through you. I'm like, here, have another shot.
And like, yeah, I still can't hear out of my right ear very well today. Did you know, fun fucking fact, that if you get too drunk, it can cause temporary hearing loss.
Did not know that.
Yeah. Like, I Googled it. I was like, why can I not hear out of my... Like, what happened? Why can I not hear out of my ear today? And it was like, well, it, like, causes a blockage of... Or a buildup of fluid. And, like, you just have to wait it out.
So the only thing that I know that's weird science with science guy, is alcohol responds strangely to the liquid in your cochlear, inside your, not your cochlear canals, but your semicircles in your semicanals. And that's, they tell you it balances in your inner ear.
Is that
X, Y, and Z basically are in your ear. Think of like your old school graphing. And it thickens, and that's kind of like, the green liquid, you're putting something on the wall or whatever you're measuring as that bubble has to move into the middle. It mixes with that, makes that thicker. So the signal you get from your inner ears is different than what your eyes are telling you, which is why you stop getting dizzy when you lay down and close your eyes, is because now you're just relying on your inner ear for what your balance is at. And even if that's off, that's okay because it's not mixing with what you're seeing. So your semicircular canals, there's the word, I found it.
Wow.
Sorry, at midnight my brain doesn't work as well as it should.
No, we all...
Your semicircular canals, the liquid, there's a delay in what you see. And that's why some people will actually think Maximum Overdrive is a good movie.
Alex knows how to bring it back to Maximum Overdrive.
Okay, so back to the trashers.
So anyway, back to Rob Zombie.
No kidding. Well, on that note, I don't think I have anything else to say about Maximum Overdrive or my New Year's resolutions. You guys?
I made a cool dress.
Yes. Go follow Lacey on her Instagram and everything. What is it, Lacey T?
Rob.zombie@gmail.com.
My first and last name.
Lacey Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to put out your email, or sorry, your phone number and your address there too?
Dude, that's one thing you're doing. You're sewing and you're making a lot more of your own costumes.
Yeah.
Things.
So
there you go.
I'm going to make a really sexy pleather shirt.
Definitely.
It's in the same style as my dress because I'm like, I think that's flattering on my chest a little bit. So I would like another one.
And then Alex, you need to check out his 10th Enemy Has the Bomb. You're on Spotify mainly, right? Spotify, SoundCloud.
I'm sure I'm on all those things.
We know you're on
Obviously
YouTube.
No, I'm on YouTube. Check me out on YouTube. I won't respond to any message you send that account. I think comments are turned off on it too. So I can't read all that this shit sucks. So wow, the production on this is pretty crappy. Yeah, I know.
No, man.
That's what happens when you put out something new every single month. Mixing doesn't matter at that point.
No, your stuff sounds good. It's I definitely see your progression over time with your music. Especially like you've always been a really great musician, but seeing like from your first album you released to what you're releasing now, the sound quality difference.
It's almost like when you invest money and time into things.
Yeah.
You're not just recording on a shitty laptop with your free interface.
Yeah,
or the free software with your interface.
Hopefully you get to make the soundtrack for Rob Zombie's
Maximum Overdrive.
My remake of Dracula.
I totally see it. At that note, you guys all good? Anything last week?
No, I mean the only thing I would say is if for some reason you haven't watched this movie
have a heroic
before this,
night.
you should watch it. This isn't one that you should. This is not a Microwave Massacre. This is not a Stay Away. This is definitely you should watch this movie and watch it with friends. This is not to be enjoyed alone. This is to be enjoyed in the company of people riffing on the movie. Making comments about the Paul Newman child character giving Emilio Estevez a blowy. Like, that's what this movie is made for.
You could even make it a fun drinking game for those of you that partake. Every time you hear who made who.
And then every time
every new
the
AC/DC
hitchhiker
song
says, "You're a hero."
Every time you hear Yeardley Smith scream and release a Simpson voice.
Yeah, no joke. Well, you guys all have a great New Year out there, and we will talk at y'all later.